Never seen such a mysterious cave. If a woman survives living inside for 3 days, she will give birth to a child in the cave. Of course, it's not the cave that makes her pregnant, but a god who lives deep inside. To marry the god and carry his child, the woman endured a full-body checkup. Then, under the watchful eyes of the whole village, she changed into the red wedding robe bestowed by the god, and carrying the hopes of everyone, she stepped into the cave where the god resides. In this village, every year a pure young woman is chosen and sent into the cave to sleep with the god. If she walks out a year later holding the god's child, the village will be blessed with good fortune and harvest. To become the god's wife, the girl had often played near the cave with her sister since childhood, always dreaming of being the chosen one day. So when the selection day came this year, she went to the village chief and asked to join, but the chief coldly refused, because her sister had already been chosen the year before. Yet the girl wouldn't give up, claiming her body was special and she was highly fertile. She swore she could bear the god's child. After hearing this, the village chief finally gave her a rare chance. The next day, her mother and a few village women began to teach her how to serve the god. The first step was to confirm that she was still pure. But before the check, her mother accidentally found a pile of strange items under her bed. The girl looked flustered, but the next moment she handed over the secret manual on her own. She explained, those who failed did so because they weren't prepared, so she studied in advance, just to make sure she could bear the god's child. Then she eagerly shared all her treasures with the others, making the women laugh with delight. After that, her mother told her to wash off all dirt from her body, because every bride of the god must be spotless, not even a speck of mud under her toenails, and she must remain pure, or the god would be enraged, and the whole village would fall under a curse. After several rounds of screening, the girl finally entered the ancestral hall and changed into the red wedding robe under the village's blessing. But the reason she was so determined to marry the god was because her sister had vanished without a trace after being sent into the cave, and all the other women who failed to bear the god's child also disappeared without a word. So she suspected a hidden secret inside the cave. She then deliberately tripped and scraped her hand. This made the village chief furious. He scolded her for shedding blood on such an auspicious day, calling it extremely unlucky. But the girl pulled out a protective charm, saying a wise man had predicted she would face danger before fortune today. Though injured now, she would soon meet the god and successfully conceive. Hearing her words, the villagers nodded in agreement, and the chief dropped the matter. He then brought out a red cloth, saying the god's bride must not see the mortal world. She must enter the forest blindfolded, and only remove the cloth once inside the cave. So she used the blood from her hand to mark the path, hoping her allies outside could find the cave quickly. Before the blood dried, she finally reached the entrance. Just before entering, the village chief leaned in close and whispered that she must serve the god with utmost care. From here on she must go alone, for only the god's wife may enter the cave. Hearing this, she took small steps and slowly walked into the darkness, unaware of the eerie smiles forming on the elders' faces behind her.